character subclasses flesh out the implicit details of your campaign world. For example, if your druid is blessed by the fairy courts and this is the source of their dreamlike magic, clearly the Fae are a powerful presence in your world. My name is Ben Byrne, and these are the Sages of Grimhollow. Druids from the Circle of Blood are keepers of the old ways. You remember the ancient rituals of blood sacrifice made to appease the gods of the old world. Circle of Blood druids trade blood for life in a delicate balance. You understand more than anyone that power and victory always have a cost. As you rise in level, your Circle of Blood druid learns to cast Sangromantic spells, blood magic spells, which are also kept in the Grimhollow Player's Guide. These spells are a little overpowered for their spell level, but cost a hit dice to cast in addition to a spell slot. This represents you drawing on your own blood to empower your magic. But Circle of Blood druids can claim the vitality of their enemies to help balance out this exchange, so you're not only harming yourself. At 3rd level, when a creature within 60 feet of you dies, you use your reaction to regain a spent hit dice. Fighting hordes of foes might even bring you back to your full number of hit dice. During that same reaction, this ability also allows you to grant yourself or an ally temporary hit points equal to your druid level. At 6th level, you can perform the Rite of the Blood Moon by spending a wild shape. When invoked, you awaken a creature's blood, which drives them into a frenzy. For 1 minute, that creature is resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. It gains dark vision out to 60 feet, and it has advantage on perception checks. The creature also gains 10 feet of movement, and it rolls a d8 for its unarmed strikes, and can make an unarmed strike as a bonus action on its turn if it takes the attack action. Kind of dual wielding in a way. The Rite of the Blood Moon is great to use on yourself if you've multiclassed into a martial, or actually honestly even if you haven't. It can supercharge a level 6 to 10 monk, or make fighters and paladins even tougher with more to do with their bonus actions. And it can even make a barbarian a little bit scarier. Because when you reach 10th level, a creature affected by the Rite of the Blood Moon can sacrifice their own hit dice during an attack to add that hit dice to the damage. In Grimhollow, Circle of Blood druids likely hail from Valika in the frozen north, where druidic circles make blood sacrifices to deepen the slumber of the primordial worm, Gormadrog. Your druid could belong to a similar druidic conclave, who perform violent rituals to old gods. Or perhaps you grew up alone in the deep forests, teaching yourself violent magics to survive the harsh realities of the uncaring wilderness. Nature evolves and adapts too slowly for your liking. You belong to the druid circle of mutation. Like moon druids, at 2nd level, your mutation druid can wild shape as a bonus action into more dangerous creatures. But you won't just change into a mere animal. By spending spell slots in wild shape, you can twist and alter your form to grant yourself horrific mutations. You could become a giant spider with a flying speed, or a multi-eyed bear armored in chitin. You could be a direwolf of huge size with venom dripping from your fangs. Your mutations are frightening to behold. At 6th level, you gain proficiency with intimidation and have advantage on intimidation checks whilst you're in wild shape. At 10th level, you can pass your mutations onto other creatures. Beasts you meet on your journey can be permanently altered and gifted in similar ways to yourself. Buff up the ranger's beast companion with magical attacks or natural armor, or increase its size so the ranger doesn't have to be a halfling to use it as a mount. Thematically, your mutation druid could be the scion of a hag. You were raised in a black swamp or the deep recesses of the mountains. You wish to twist the natural world rather than protect or conform to it. Or perhaps your conclave possessed an idol to an elder god who demanded change. The druids mistook the whispering voice for a primordial being. In Grimhollow, you might have been affected by the power of the Great Beast, or the dark mists of Charno have corrupted your druidic order. These druid circles and a host of new spells are all available in the Grimhollow Player's Guide, which I'll throw a link to up here if you do want to check it out. But perhaps you'd rather unlock your magic through studious exploration of forbidden knowledge. The Plague Doctor is one of my favorite wizard subclasses because it embodies the dark fantasy aesthetic of subtle magic. It's also a subclass that you can get incredibly creative with when you use your second level ability to craft potions. Using a herbalism kit, you can spend 10 minutes and a spell slot to craft a potion. The potion has the effect of a spell from your spellbook equal to the spell slot spent. The spell used can only target a single creature, but whoever drinks the crafted potion is affected by the spell as if you had just cast it on them. Best of all, the creature who drank the potion concentrates on the spell instead of you, and you don't have to have the spell prepared to craft the potion. Give your party rogue an invisibility potion or a potion of dark vision, or better yet, a potion that allows the rogue to summon a shadow blade to inflict psychic damage. Bolster your fighter, paladin, or monk with a false life potion or a potion of haste, or protect them with a potion of fire shield or mirror image. You could also theoretically create powerful poisons. Craft a potion of chromatic orb or blight. Harmful potions admittedly don't work quite as well with concentration spells. This is because, as mentioned, the one who imbibes the potion is the one concentrating. So a creature could just stop concentrating if you tried poisoning them with something like banishment. But at 6th level, you do learn to craft bad medicine, which is a unique poison that you hurl onto the battlefield to create a negative area of effect. Depending on how you craft the bad medicine, and you get a few options and customizations that you can do to it, the affected creatures can have their speed halved, they can take extra damage from subsequent attacks, or they can just straight up become poisoned. Back at 2nd level, you can also create good medicine, which is a type of healing potion that restores 1d8 per level of the spell slot spent when crafting it. It's not a huge amount of healing, especially compared to a normal healing potion, but that kind of fits in a dark fantasy world. It's a bottle of bitter medicine rather than a warm touch from a divine hand. You'll play a Plague Doctor if you enjoy the support role, or want a little extra punch in your offensive spells than a bard or cleric typically gets. Your Plague Doctor may have studied under a druid or a cleric, or specialized in alchemy at their academy, or maybe grew up in a plague town like Lysec with a vocation to cure diseases. Or are you simply fascinated by the effects of disease on the mortal body? Blood magic has a dark reputation as a gruesome school of magic. Yet, as a student of this arcane tradition, you know that there's nothing inherently evil about Sangromancy. We made an entire video exploring the thematic significance of blood in fantasy and how it can affect the tone of your D&D campaign. You should check that one out just after this video. This wizard subclass specializes in sangromantic spells. They all count as wizard spells for you, and you spend half the time and gold adding them to your spellbook, as should be expected. At 2nd level, you gain a pool of D12s equal to 1 plus your wizard level, and you can use these D12s when casting sangromantic spells instead of spending hit dice. This has 2 benefits. First, you're not sacrificing your ability to regain hit points during a short rest because you've run out of hit dice, as a usual sangromancer might do. Secondly, your sangromancy spells are far more potent than other mages. The hit dice spent during the spell's casting are used to fuel the spell itself. So let's take the spell Circle of Scarlet as an example. This spell requires you to spend 4 hit dice when you cast it, which are then used as the damage dice for the spell. A regular wizard casting this spell would inflict 4d6 necrotic damage. For you, Circle of Scarlet inflicts 4d12 necrotic damage. At 6th level, you gain a 1 hit point per level health buff, making you generally tougher than other wizards. And at 10th level, you can empower other spells with Sangromancy. When you deal damage to a creature with a spell, such as with Chromatic Orb, you can spend a hit dice or one of your d12s from your Sangromancy pool to deal that much additional damage. At 4th level, you regain half the hit dice you spend during a short rest, making you actually quite durable. Play a Sangromancer if you want an evocative dark wizard that deals high damage in interesting ways. Craft your blood into a Crimson Lash, using it as a reach weapon. Or crystallize your blood into a Heartseeker arrow that weakens your enemy. Or form a Sanguine Shield of temporary hit points, drawing on the wounds of those around you. What does your pool of Sangromantic D12s thematically represent? Does your Sangromancer wizard draw blood directly from themselves, carry small vials of blood-like tinctures, or keep live vermin in their component pouch for in-the-moment sacrifice? If you wish to play a mage with an even darker history than a Sangromancer, you may prefer the Haunted Sorcerer who has bound an undead spirit to their past service. Or perhaps a warlock who has made a pact with an aberrant parasite growing inside your own body. Or if you prefer stealth and subterfuge, there are also these sinister rogues and ranger archetypes from Grim Hollow. You can imbue us with eldritch power by liking this video, it's always appreciated. And you can also join our Dark Fantasy campaign by subscribing to the channel.